Hello, Bill Molyneux here with the French Indian War Board Game Volume 1 by Superior Print on Demand, Bill Molyneux Games, Fast Play War Games. So, as we continue along, we're now going to be playing Braddocks Defeat, otherwise known as the Battle of Monongahela, featuring Tom Hinkleman, a very famous Native American reenactor. And as we've moved along, this is our scenario 3, and I'm going to pause the camera for a moment. Okay, a couple notes about this. This is the Battle of Monongahela. The game can be purchased at some historic sites, hopefully many. As of right now, I do not believe Eastern National Park, even though I exist at the Fort Necessity area. I do believe maybe at some point we'll have some games over at Fort Necessity. This coming week, July 20th through the 25th, is Historicon, the large miniature and board war game convention, mostly miniatures. But Steve of Age of Glory booth, the Age of Glory booth in the dealer hall, will be carrying my games. And so if you're looking for the games and you're at the War Game Convention, July 20th through the 25th, look there. Now this is the Battle of Monongahela, the third scenario. And a couple things to point out. We have a lot more counters. Our rules are going to be a little bit more complicated. These artillery pieces, they're a value of movement of 2, but it's red. They cannot retreat into these forests. If they have to retreat, they're eliminated. We have a very large force here. This General Braddock, George Washington, and they are marching to Fort Duquesne over here. They need to get 4 infantry units off the board, a cannon, and a leader. In my scenario, they need that much to attack the French fort of Fort Duquesne. Now, what is stopping them? We have our French leader, French Marine, 3 natives, and another woods runner, a Coeur du Bois woods runner. They only take 1 hit, if you remember from the last scenario. The French are extremely outnumbered. Now, in this game, the French is the first player. They all they need to do is keep this column from exiting over here. 4 infantry units, 1 leader, and 1 cannon needs to get off the edge. So we play 10 turns. Google the Battle of Monongahela. There's some great museums out in Pittsburgh regarding this battle. And then pause the camera. We're going to get ready to play. Okay, here we go. And you got to remember, in my rule system, when these units move in their advance phase, they're going to get fired on first. So their movement is 3. 1, 2, 3. And of course, we're going to put our French Marine here in the Grenadier. 1, 2, 3 with our leader. Natives in the road. So right now, this unit can only fire at 1. Same with this unit. So we have our Grenadier unit is going to just right off the bat try to knock this native unit out. It's in light woods. This is just a path. There's still light woods on the road. I don't even know if you want to call it a road. Robert Nipar, a famous historian out there, I would call it more like a deer trail path that they've made at this point. But here we go. We need a 1 through 7 because of the reduction of that. And unfortunately, the Grenadiers rolled a 9. So they failed to fire on this native unit. Now Washington gives this 1 through 7. You're firing here into these heavy woods. So he's going to fire at these natives. and he needs a 1 through 6. It's a 1 through 7, plus 1 becomes 1 through 8 with Washington giving orders, but the wood gives the natives cover. And unfortunately, Washington rolled a 7, and we needed a 6 or less. So the British troops here are fired. Now let's see what the French will do. Now in the game, there's no order of how you fire. So this is interesting, is what I want to do is attack this unit first and cut this grenadier off. So I'm going to have this native attack here. And they need a 1 through 5. And they rolled a 5 right off the bat. So that's not good. He's and I love these large counters. And Washington is fine. He did not get hit. We rolled a 10. A 1 through 5 would have wounded or incapacitated, killed Washington, whatever you want to consider that. So Washington is fine. That unit's fine. And this unit hit. So right now, that line unit is dead. Washington is going to try to make a run for it, and he rolled at 8, which he did. So he's able to get back to there. So we have natives on the road. So we have fired 2 native units. Our woods runner, they rolled a 3. So our grenadier has been hit. And this native unit rolled a 1. And the natives come charging up the road. So that's where we're at. So our provincials can now move. Well, they move really slow in the woods. So we're going to move to a 2 there. But we're trying to see what we can do for the... Now this pathway roads. Our artillery battery is here. And this is sort of blocking line of sight, but they can see down the road. So the problem is this unit is going to get attacked by these natives. And I made a mistake, but I did it anyhow. I should have fallen back. What a mess up on my part. So this native unit is firing only 1 roll because it's a defensive fire. And it rolled a 6, which is a miss because Washington and his men have cover. So Washington's line infantry now get to fire back. Their value is 1 through 7. Becomes a 1 through 6 and some cover. And the leader brings them back to a 1 through 7. And they rolled a 3, which is a hit. So the natives have been damaged. And then they need a 1, 2, or a 3 to hold. And look at that. We rolled a 3. So our natives have held. Wow. Pretty impressive first turn. Going to turn 2 in the Battle of Monongahela. I need to get 2 infantry units off the table or kill all the French. It seems like these troops should be able to just take these guys out. But the problem is I move really slow in these woods where the natives do not. So it's the French turn to move. And 1, 2, 3 there. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, I was allowed to set up my British column however I wanted. I have to get a cannon off this edge. I probably should have placed the cannons back here because I have a feeling they're going to get overrun. So it's defensive fire for Washington's men. We're going to try to take this unit out right off the bat. Well, 1 through 7, and that is not Washington's day. I rolled a 9. that unit is fine. Our artillery battery, well, artillery, it's a light gun. You'll notice the ranges are 1, 2, and 3. So where a 1 through 6 becomes a 1 through 5 with the cover. And we rolled a 4. So my 4 is a hit. So our French Marines have been reduced to a 5. See what happens to our leader. Our leader is fine, rolled an 8. And then retreat-wise, we rolled a 3. The Marines are like, bring it on. Wow. So here we are. French now get to fire. Our Coeur de Bras needs a 4 or less, and I rolled a 4. So we now have a line unit that's been hit. Let's see if Washington has taken a hit, and Washington is down. Now, I've had some people say that, my death roll of being killed, wounded, whatever, incapacitated could be high. And you know what? When you have my games, you can adjust the rules any way you'd like. And we check our morale, we're fine. This native's attacking, and it rolled a 1, and it gets an advance there. While we're rolling up our British line pretty bad already. So let's see what happens here. Our French Marines have been reduced. Their 1 through 5 becomes a 1 through 4, 1, 2, or 3. But our leader brings us back up to a 1 through 4, and they rolled a 9. So their Charlevilles didn't do well. We have this native unit. And it gets 2 tries because it's an attack phase. And I rolled a 9 and a 4. So the 4 is a hit. Now this artillery piece and its gunners are like, oh my God, what do we do? And they have to check morale. And unfortunately for them, they rolled an 8. Because their movement value is a 1, they're really bad at this point. They cannot go into woods because of their movement value. They have to go down here. Wow, we have artillery gun. This is, so I can force here to here, and then this unit has to do a morale check, which it fails, and it gets reduced. This unit with General Braddock goes off into the woods. Their morale holds with General Braddock. So our line is falling back. Now this retreated. This is the first time in the scenarios that I've been able to do this. A unit retreated that's been hit by a native. The native advanced. And this is the native special rule I came up with. If a unit retreats after it's been attacked by a native in the attack phase, it gets to roll again. And we rolled a 3. So, and the native occupies that. Wow. And before, I really had the chance to set up the units as I wanted to for the British. And right now, I really messed up. I haven't killed a single French unit. And we'll see what happens next. I can't move my heavy gun, my big siege guns into these woods. I've blocked the road. So if you're playing this game at home, put your guns back here. Now, we're in the American-British provincial movement phase, and we're going to take this native out. Now, this is what's frustrating. My provincials moved 2, but only it cost me 2 to move into woods. So I can't move them good enough. And this heavy gun can only move 1 on the road. So that's the best I can do. And this is the advanced phase. The native gets 1 try with a 1 through 5. And it actually scores a hit on Braddock's line troops going in at it, which is frustrating. And General Braddock himself is fine. Now I can fire back. And we got a 2. So our native now is reduced to a 1, 2, or 3. When a native unit gets hit, it's really damaged. And we rolled a 9. So it actually falls back. And I'm going to have it go back there. My line troop, my line regiment is it advanced. I occupied that space, and I'm going to try at this point. I really need to get everything I have here needs to get off the table, and as you can see, it's almost impossible at this point. And as you're playing this game, you can always change your victory conditions or change the scenario up a little bit. Most importantly, you have the ability to set up your units the way you want, both French and British, which gives the scenario a different flavor. So if you're playing against someone else, you could always roll high die who sets up first and second. So we're going into turn 3, and General Braddocks there, and we're just going all out. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to try to cut them off at the road. And General Braddock and his 1/6 units firing here. And that Marine unit is half strength already. And we scored a hit. So the Marine unit's gone. Let's just check our leader. And our leader is gone. He died with a 3. So General Braddock and his leadership did very well there. And we have no other firing for the British. So we go to the offensive fire phase. We're going to have the wounded native fire first. Miraculously, I rolled a 3, but it's still not good enough because Braddock's men has some cover. Our native unit here, it has, and it scores a hit. Now, the line unit was already reduced, so it's gone. General Braddock's there, going, oh, and General Braddock unfortunately rolled a 3. So, we no longer have enough troops to leave the map and attack Fort Duquesne. What is neat about this? Well, I could have changed how I set up, and for both sides, but it is a great thing to see how a few native units and really have just overpowered the column. So it's now the British provincial turn to move, and I'm just forming a line there. And the as the French player, I've fulfilled my victory conditions. I do not need to go in anymore. I'm plundering out through here. These units are reduced. So really, with the woods covers, they're going to need 1s and 2s, which are a 20% chance. And this unit only takes 1 hit. So, for turn 4, I basically have fallen back, and we're going to say historically, where we lost Bouger, our French leader, 1 French Marine unit. Our natives took a bit of a hit here and here, but most of the column is gone. We did change history with George Washington. Now, what would have happened if I put the artillery in the back? And also, I put my best unit, the Grenadiers, in the front, and they took the first attacks. I should have used the wimpy provincials up there and let them get slaughtered. And then I could have formed a line somewhere around in here and saved the artillery. But could, second guess everything. Braddocks Defeat. One of the great historians of Braddocks Defeat and Braddocks Road Preservation Society, Dr. Walter Powell, and of course Robert Nipar, and also Erica Knuckles. So I think I'm going to conclude this with the French Indian War, Volume 1, and you can pick it up at some historic sites and Fast Play War Games online, and Steve at Age of Glory booth at the War Game Convention. I hope you enjoyed this video. Can you leave a comment? I'm going to keep doing these if people are watching them. Hopefully someone's watching them. So stay safe, be kind, be courteous. This Saturday I'll be at Fort Frederick volunteering. And that's about it for now. Thank you once again.